What's up guys, it's Scoopman 5000. Today we're back for another video. Merry Christmas is our Christmas special, and for that we're going to be looking at the top 10 WWE Elite Figures of 2020. 2020, you can say what you can say about it, but there is no doubt that the Mattel WWE figures are better than they've ever been, and the Elites obviously being the main line. And so what we have in front of us here actually is what I'd consider the honorable mentions. These didn't quite crack the top 10 in my opinion, but there's some figures worthy of note. We got some awesome updates in the front here for the likes of Bayley, Alexa Bliss, AJ Styles. The whole most recent Elite series, I believe it was 82 or 83, it had Gronk, John Morrison, Jerry Lawler, Keith Lee, Finn Balor, who's not on the screen here, but that whole set was awesome. Jake the Snake up here from the recent Legends line I think was a great figure, and then some Ultimate Editions in the back. I'm not counting Ultimate Editions. It's safe to say if I was, you'd see a lot of those towards the front. These are three of my favorites: The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and The Rock. And just to get an idea of how good the figures were this year, I think these are all contenders in their own right. And I want to know your list, so at the end of this, definitely give me your top 10 list of the year. If you want to throw in basics, you want to throw in ultimates, you want to throw in anything else. For me, I'm sticking mainly to the main Elite line, but I did want to get these honorable mentions in real quick. And there's plenty more, honestly. Most figures that come out by Mattel these days really do knock it out of the park. There's only really a few exceptions here and there whenever they kind of fumble with one, but for the most part, Mattel absolutely killing it. So we're going to go right to number 10 on the top 10 Elite figures of 2020. And starting out at number 10, and what I think was definitely the hardest spot to fill, I think any of the figures you saw in the beginning could have been considered top 10. They could have been considered anywhere in this list. But for me personally, I gotta go with the Eddie Guerrero from Legends Series 8 that we just got from Target a few months back. And I think the significance behind this figure is really what propels it to that number 10 spot. It's a great figure, excellent likeness, especially not having access to his physical likeness, obviously. Mattel did a great job with that sculpt. The paint looks great. The ring gear's got all the right deco. I love the boots. The cloth good shirt is great. And I think honestly, like I said, the significance of this being a late in his career Eddie Guerrero, rather than the usual kind of long-haired mullet WCW era Eddie Guerrero that we've gotten from Mattel in the past. This is one that hits a lot closer to home. It's right at the end of Eddie Guerrero's life and his career, and I think they just did a great job of capturing, you know, the star that Eddie Guerrero was at this time, where he got to. This is that version of Eddie Guerrero. I think if you got to pick one, this is going to be the one for years to come. So that's why this Eddie Guerrero is landing in at my number 10 spot. And coming in at number 9, we got Xavier Woods from Elite Series 79. And the reason this figure gets on this list, and I think I said this when I reviewed the figure a few months back, is that they really just took the fun factor up to the next level when it comes to the accessories with this guy. The New Day figures, they're always going to have this bright, colorful gear, at least when you get an Elite figure. So that's not really that special, but when you get the interchangeable head with that Stevie Wonder kind of look that he only wore once, and it wasn't with this outfit, but they threw it in, they gave him a brand new, awesome head sculpt like that. Sculpted in sunglasses, the yellow beads, all of that is there. And then I really think the creme de la creme, the best piece in this set, is definitely that up, up, down, down Austin Creed Championship, which is even more obscure than the head sculpt because that was never on WWE television. It's just something that he uses on Up, Up, Down, Down, the YouTube channel. So really cool. I'd have to imagine that Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, was super stoked to get this in figure form, kind of immortalized, similar to the Internet Championship back in the day with a similar story. Combine that with the trombone and with the matching New Day from the same Elite series, and I think this is just the best Xavier Woods figure we've gotten so far, and those two accessories alone put this into the number 9 spot. And coming in at number 8, we have the Elite Series 78, Naomi. And Naomi is someone who was so long overdue for an Elite figure. She's been with WWE for almost like 9 or 10 years, I think. And they picked the greatest look, kind of the best time in her career up to this date was when she won the SmackDown Women's Championship. The Feel the Glow gear glows in the dark, and you get that awesome custom championship. The figure I have here is the Chase. I think that pink color just kind of looks a bit better. But even the base figure, you could argue, is better because it has that deco on it. So I think either figure you get with this Naomi, you can't go wrong. Love the colors, pops, and Naomi definitely deserved this figure. And with that custom championship, it's going to be probably the only way to ever get this belt. And so I think there's more than enough reason to include this Naomi when you're talking about a top 10, and that's why she lands at number 8 on this list. And then coming in at number 7, we have from Elite Series 76, and this is Otis. And he came in the same set as Tucker, but obviously Otis was the breakout star, at least earlier in the year. In typical WWE fashion, he's kind of gone under the rug now. But when this figure came out a couple months ago, it's at the peak of Otis's popularity. He won the Money in the Bank briefcase. But this figure here, I'm pretty sure entirely new sculpt we got going on. The jacket is awesome, and the face sculpt especially. Perfect expression on Otis. You know exactly who it is, and it's very comical, very animated like Otis is in the WWE. But I think in this figure's case, they just especially nailed the silhouette, the feel of Otis. This is really like having a miniature Otis in your collection. So for that reason, he's landing at the number 7 spot on this list. And coming in at number 6, we have Chyna from the Elite 2-pack on Ringside Collectibles. This also came with a Triple H, which is a decent figure. I think it perfectly captures what they were going for. But Chyna was obviously the reason to pick up this set. Her first WWE Mattel figure, her first figure in general in I think almost 20 years. And not just for the significance, but on the quality of the figure itself, perfectly capturing Chyna from the late 90s as part of D-Generation X, the original version. The awesome sculpted details on the belt, the tights, the boots, everything like that captured perfectly. A great head sculpt, and also the 2 belts I'm going to count as Chyna's accessories. Obviously, they're supposed to go with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but Chyna was known to be holding both belts. That's how I have her displayed, as you can see here, and it's just a striking, awesome, beautiful figure of Chyna. Now, we also had that WrestleMania figure that recently came out, but personally, I think this one edges it out just a little bit. I think it more perfectly captures her in this moment compared to how they captured that WrestleMania Chyna. That being said, they're both great figures. I'm sure we're going to get more to come. But for Chyna's Mattel debut, she's coming in at number 6 on this list. And now we're here at the top 5 Mattel WWE Elite Figures. And we're kicking that off with the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Mr. T. And this is a figure that kind of came out of nowhere. They announced it right before San Diego Comic-Con, or what was supposed to be San Diego Comic-Con. They dropped it on Entertainment Earth. Huge surprise drop. I missed out on that one, but luckily they released it later on Mattel Creations. And I'm glad that they did. I'm so glad to have this figure. Now, it's not the most iconic look of Mr. T when it comes to the WWF. He's got the blue tights that he wasn't really known for. It's kind of a mishmash of a few different appearances for Mr. T. But I think this being the first puts it up on the list. And also the details that are here are excellent, especially when it comes to that cloth goods army jacket that he's got going on, the title belt with the Mr. T logo, the big chains, the gauntlets are all removable. This is a figure I think looks great in the ring gear, but especially with all this entrance gear, truly feels like a Comic-Con exclusive. And you throw that together with the classic VHS styled box that it came in. And overall, it's just so great to see Mr. T included in this Elite line. It's a line that's been going for so long, and to get figures like this so long into the Mattel Elite line that are still exciting and still add to the collection, there's definitely something to that, and that's why this Mr. T just cracks the top 5 of this list. And coming in at number 4, and I'm going to cheat a little bit by including both Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, and I think they're just inseparable, even more so in the case of Otis and Tucker, because Otis kind of became his own thing this year. But when it comes to the Viking Raiders, we always wanted to see these two together in an Elite set, and that's exactly what we got. We've been waiting on figures of these guys since the War Raiders, NXT days, arguably, when they were a lot better. If I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Ivar. At least I think this one's Ivar. I know they changed the names from Hansen and Rowe, but definitely this one is a bit more impressive. He's got more girth to him. He's got a bit more detail. I think the face looks a lot better. But both of these figures, just on the fact of all the sculpted little details that they have going on here, the headdresses, the armor, the tattoos, all of that is there, and then some. You got some awesome, gorgeous details on these two, and arguably it was worth the wait, how long it took to get some proper Viking Raiders figures, and for that reason, I'm going to include them both at the number 4 spot on this list. And now we're at top 3, and you might be shocked by this. I'm putting the Fiend Bray Wyatt from Elite Series 77 at the number 3 spot. Now, if you asked me this when the figure came out in the summer, this figure was definitely the number 1, and it would have stayed that way for a long time, but you'll see these next 2 figures, I think, just up the quality, up the bar for these Mattel figures. I think they had to go in the number 1 and 2 spot. And also in the case of the Fiend, this is an excellent figure. I personally don't have any issues with it. If this was the only Fiend that we got for the longest time, I wouldn't have an issue. However, we did just get the Ultimate Edition Fiend, which essentially is this figure just improved upon tenfold, because we have the unique sculpted boots on that, we have the jacket, the better articulation, the head sculpt, the title belt, and I think that any issue that you would have had with this figure was corrected in the Ultimate Edition. So if you had to choose one Fiend figure, I think it is that Ultimate. For that reason, this figure went down to number 3, but number 3 is not a bad spot at all. And like I said, I think the significance, the hype around this figure, it was worth it, and I think they did a great job. So for that reason, the Fiend has still got to go at a comfortable number 3 on this list. And now it's number 2, and we got Io Shirai from Elite Series 79, and just a stunning, breathtaking figure, head to toe, awesome sculpt, even sculpt that you wouldn't expect on this figure because she is just wearing like a bodysuit. Went into this when I reviewed the figure along with Bobby Fish, but really just one of the most unreal, realistic looking Mattel Elite figures probably of all time. Perfectly captured Io Shirai in the face, the outfit, the body, everything like that. You got this awesome faux leather, I don't even know what to call it, cloth goods jacket with printed details. You got the fur collar that's big and awesome. You have the NXT Women's Championship, and overall, for the same price point as all these other figures, there's just so much here. This feels like a premium, next level figure. If you know anything about the behind the scenes and Bill McKenna, who kind of creates these figures, you know that he loves the Joshi women's wrestlers, and that definitely comes through, and you could tell that they put a lot of love and care into this Io Shirai, and for that reason, it gets to the number 2 spot on this list. But there can only be one number 1 figure of 2020, and I gotta give it to the Legend Series 8 Ultimate Warrior. So we're ending the list with Legend Series 8, and we started it with Legend Series 8. Just goes to show how great this Legends line is so far. And while you could argue that the Io Shirai is technically a better figure, I think the significance outweighs that in this case, and we really just get a surreal figure for what was one of the most surreal moments in wrestling history, really, and especially in recent years. So this depicts Ultimate Warrior in the now legendary promo from the last night that he ever had on this earth and on Monday Night Raw, where he sent out kind of a eerie message that nobody really knew what he was talking about. They thought it was normal Ultimate Warrior babble, and come to find out it was really his own eulogy that he was giving out. It's really a surreal moment, and Mattel perfectly capturing it. It's a few years late, but honestly, I think that was a good thing. We got this awesome cloth goods jacket that I don't think we would have got a couple years ago. And even the face scan is very impressive on this figure, and I think this figure is a testament. It goes to show how much the quality has improved on these Mattel figures since its inception, and especially in the last 5 or 6 years since this promo was given, and now finally a couple years later we have this awesome representation of Ultimate Warrior. I think this is a figure, I bought 2 of them myself. I think it's just going to be one that's going to be sought after for a long time. And I have the feeling that almost instantly, once it starts drying up in Targets, I think he's definitely going to be sought after. He's definitely going to be expensive. So I think while you still can, definitely pick up this Ultimate Warrior. A very special figure for a lot of different reasons. And with all of those factors combined, he's getting the number 1 rub on this list. And overall, that is going to do it for my top 10 WWE Elite figures of the year, and it also is going to cap off the first year, or I guess the first 6 months or so of this channel. Most of these figures I have reviewed, so if you want to go ahead and check those out, you could see that in a playlist I'll link down below. Now, of course, this list was my opinion and my own, so if you want to tell me what you would have done differently, if you would have swapped any of the orders, or if there's any figures you think I missed out, even in the honorable mentions, if you didn't see a figure that's your favorite, that's awesome, let me know which figure that was. With a line as huge as this one, it seems like we get new Elites at least every month. And when it comes to exclusives, Elite Mainline, Ringside Collectibles, exclusives, anything like that. So I'm bound to miss something, but overall I'm pretty confident to say that this is my top 10 for the year, and I'm absolutely excited to see what Mattel has in store for 2021. It seems like a lot of even the January, February early figures that we're going to be getting already are going to be some contenders, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Mattel, keep doing what you're doing, and obviously we got more wrestling companies joining the circle, so overall, really bright, great time to be collecting wrestling figures, and I think these 10 or 11, if you want to count the Viking Raiders, really do exemplify that. I think all 10 of these are essential pickups for your WWE Elite collection. But that does it for this video, the Christmas special, if you will. So Merry Christmas. Let me know if you got any of these figures or any other WWE Elite figures or any action figures. Let me know what you guys got for Christmas, anything like that down in the comments. I'll leave this off with a nice group shot of the top 10, and I'll see you guys next year, and I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.